Next question is, what change or impact do you want to have in the world? This is a good one. I think of one of the they talk about having an enemy as far as your brand and your business. And I think my enemy would, if I had to name it, would be repetitive stories in culture. Obviously, I'm black, and the black story is one of those things that I grew up with and was very deeply ingrained. This is the story of struggle. This is the story of slavery. This is you know the story. Everybody knows the story, even if you're not black. And I feel like that defined a big part of my life. And if you're black, you probably know what I'm talking about. It was a shadow over me I want to say the first half of my life. And I spent a long time trying to wrestle with that, like who I was and like what does it mean to be black and that type of thing. And I finally hit this point where after my dad passed away, I was pretty young, I was 16. I I went through a couple of years where, I had to work through that and just get over that. But I got to the point to where I saw those stories as kind of I kept seeing the stories all over the place. You see them in movies, you see them in music, you see them on TV, you see them the way black characters are written. And I was like, I'm kind of sick of these stories. I'm tired of being told the same stories over and over again about who I am, who we are as a people. And I want to tell different stories. And maybe those stories don't even include black people. Not that I'm writing us out in any way, but maybe we're not the focus of that story. And it extrapolated not just to black stories, but for all stories. I mean, a story that I'm also tired of is the standard superhero story, this black and white story, the Marvel, not to just beat up on Marvel. I know a lot of people do it for fun, but that story has been told many, many times of the underdog, they get their powers, the hero, and now the save the world, that type of thing. And I was just like, I want to tell different stories. So as I went through my life and I've gone through my life, I've traveled, I've lived in different places around the world, and there are so many cool stories out there. And I tend to just grab different bits and pieces of different cultures. I used to live in Japan, so I'd grab stories from famous animes, and I'm a big fan of Chinese dramas, so I grab a lot of stories from there. Other places, obscure places. Um, these stories all have an impact on me. I was a big, and I'm a still big proponent of studying foreign languages. And when you study a foreign language, it's hard not to absorb the story of that culture, at least in a little bit. At least not it's hard not to get that kind of absorption going when you're studying a language. So I think that's the impact I want to have. I want to bring these different ideas of different cultures and bring them together to tell the human, to use an AI word, to display the tapestry of the human experience, of not just the human experience that we've known, of love, of war, of conflict, these types of things, but where we're going as far as how much the world has changed, even in my lifetime. It's changed a lot. Culture's changed, technology's changed, how we interact with the world has changed. And I feel like when I see the older stories, I respect the greats that have come before, and we stand on their shoulders. But we live in a different time, and we don't have a lot of stories. It feels like, in a way, sometimes culture has frozen itself. Like when I see, for instance, the Google updates, it's like the same people they kind of update. And I know we're talking about just one company, but this is just an example, right? You see the same people that they kind of um, venerate over and over again. And I'm like, where is recent history? Where are the new stories that are being told? Where are the new voices? Where are our voices in this thing? And I'm not just talking about black people, but like where are like contemporary living people who are shaping history right now? What are their stories? What are they going through? The world's completely different than it was 20, 30 years ago. and we don't have the stories. This is a big reason why Hack Studios exists, why I write the stories that I write, and it's part of the impact that I want to have is to elevate these people who are writing about modern experiences in a new way. They're using new technology and new mediums to share these stories with you, with me, with the entire world. And by giving them a chance, I mean, we all know how difficult discovery is these days, but by giving these new writers a chance to share their voice, to share their talent, giving them a platform, whatever it is, even just if it's just sending them out in a newsletter or something, by uplifting them, I feel like we can have a big impact on the types of stories that we tell ourselves as a species, and I'm all for that.